Miss me Rice. Might as well. I'm walking through a ghost town, y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page. But we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay. Mississippi Racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi Racer riding out, till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi Racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi Racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay. Red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
What's up, everybody? You know what time it is. Victory Thursday. That's right. We're coming off that win. The Giants win. I need my roses. I almost predicted the score correctly. Damn Giants didn't do their part. Didn't score at least 10 points. Punks. Anyway, glad that it went that way. We got a lot to talk about. We are going to be talking about our grades as usual. Offense, defense, Jalen. And, we got to talk about that oh-so-sweet revenge that Saquon said he didn't really care about. But the numbers tell a different story. So, we'll jump into the grades. Saquon definitely dropped it on him, as he should have. I'm sorry. Like, he could say what he wants to say. But when he saw that that video and he lived it, we saw it, the Hard Knocks, I was like, yeah, he's going to put it on him when they see him. In Giant Stadium, too? Psh. Anyway, how are you gentlemen doing?
Good.
Cool. So,
I'm very happy to be wrong, brother.
Oh, as you should be. I've been on that side of the coin. But up to my right might be your left. We got Cool McCain from Eagles Elite Podcast. And up to my left, maybe you're right. I can never tell. That's Gene from Wire to Wire. Many shows, but mainly Wire to Wire on Wednesdays is his main gig. Check him out all the time. Is it 7th? Is it 7 o'clock? Or I feel like the time
Bro, I feel
changed.
like it's been 7 to 9 for like 4 years, bro.
Has it?
I feel like you should know that at this point.
It pops up. I pop in there. But great show. So listen, let's jump into it. You guys just want to dive right into the grades. You got who wants to go offense, defense first?
What do you pick, brother? You started off. You lead. Leaders lead.
Let's go with the offense first. So I will have Gene start off with the offense here.
Oh, am I going offensive coordinator, head coach? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we're doing offense. Yep.
So not the quarterback.
Nope.
I'm gonna give the offense an A, not an A plus, not an A minus, but an A. They ran the ball to Saquon Barkley. They ran the ball to Kenneth Gainwell. They had a very efficient game plan for Jalen Hurts. Very game manager-ish. They controlled tempo. They controlled the clock. The reason I don't give them an A plus is because they still haven't scored an opening drive. But I give them an A for controlling tempo and controlling the clock and running the football, which is super important.
Yeah. Definitely super important. Cool. What say
I'm
you?
gonna give him a B.
Oh, surprised.
Still a little bit of tomfoolery I didn't like. Still can't score in the first quarter. Can't even get a field goal. So I'm gonna give him a B. I felt like this was let's appease Saquon. Let's make sure Saquon gets the ball. Let's run the ball a lot. But I need to see them show me that they can do this in a logical, continuous manner before I trust them by giving them anything more than a B for doing it one time in a revenge game for Saquon.
I hear you. I just don't know how 45 carries for 270 yards. Like, that's what we've been asking for. I got to compliment that shit. That's what we've been asking for.
I could have gave him a lower grade. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving him a B for it. But it's that one time where it's for Saquon. My point is, I need you to show me that you're going to do this because it makes sense and not just because that's the cool thing to do because, it shows that you solidarity behind Saquon. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I'm gonna go with an A, not an A plus, because listen, they didn't score in the first quarter, and that's become a point of emphasis because it's among the worst in the league. So if I don't know if is it the worst? I'm pretty sure it's the worst in the league, right? In first quarter, if I'm
It's the
not
worst for
mistaken.
us. In
I mean,
our
you
history of
can't-
teams, so that's
how
all
do you
it
get
is.
worse? It's 0.
Yeah.
Like, how's
So
it not worse? It's 0.
yeah. So I mean, I just think that's the part that's missing there. I mean, I guess they played up to the Saquon thing a little bit, but I think going into the game too, I think they were looking to run the ball more too. I just, I'm with Gene on that. Like 245 yards. I mean, that's a hell of a game.
270, bro. 270.
270.
6 yards to carry.
Yeah, and listen, man, sometimes you got to play into the player's motivation. And there was a clip I saw on the sideline where they were like, "Hey, man, do you want to go for your career high?" And Saquon was like, "It's all right. I don't,
Let the young guys eat," is what the exact words were.
Yeah. So
I love that. By the way,
yeah.
can we compliment that? Can we parking lot that? Because you want to talk about a leader? That's a leader. He doesn't care about his individual accolades. He said, "Let the young guys eat. I'm good. Individual accolades aren't why I'm here. I'm here to win."
And Saquon,
love that.
He was the Angry Runs winner of the week on the NFL Network. So
you're talking about the third down screen pass in which he ran over a Giants defender. That shit was awesome.
I was like, oh damn. They got handled 28-3. So yeah, man. I think that GM might be he's in trouble. I don't care what anybody says. Maybe they don't make a change, but like that's gotta burn the Maras when they look at that and they got smacked at home by their former guy. And I'm glad Saquon came here because I was always wanted to see him on a winning team, and he didn't really have a chance with that with the Giants the way they're constructed, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm A minus. The overshadowed story, probably, which is a bigger story, is the performance of the defense. How do we feel about that? There was lots of sacks in this game from both sides, actually. Surprising that the Giants lead the league in sacks, right? I mean, I kept hearing that. I was like, wow.
They have a great line. They just have nothing to go with it.
Yeah. So, let's go on that. Cool. You go on the defense first. What grade do you give them?
Oh, defense gets an A. Not perfect because we still got as one of my co-hosts, Eagles Diva, said yesterday, no play Slay.
No play Slay.
He's been limping off every week. The other guys are stepping up, whether they put in Ringo or whoever they put in on that side, whether it's Isaiah with Ringo, whoever, they're stepping up and they're getting a job done for the time that they're playing. Quinyon Mitchell's a revelation. The only thing that he hasn't done is intercept the ball. Other than that, I mean, he's doing everything you want. When you look at the linebackers, play really well. Nakobe Dean's getting to the quarterback. He's still some struggles in the past, but that's just who he's going to be. If you're going to play him, that's who he's going to be. But we're starting to do things defensively to overlook the weaknesses of players. And that's what a defense is supposed to do, right? You're supposed to figure out, okay, these are the guys I'm going to play. These are the things they do well. These are the things they don't do well. How can I offset those things? That's starting to happen. We're starting to see that gelling process going through. I think on the offensive and defensive side, we're starting to see the coordinators look like they're really like, this is what we're going to do. But I still have some trepidation on the offense side. We'll see. They can show me all I need to see on offense this week. But defensively, they get an 8. They're doing the job. They're making things happen. They haven't given up a touchdown in 2 games. Gotta love it. And I don't care what type of team you're playing. It's another freaking NFL franchise. And they're not letting them in the end zone.
Yeah, I'll go next. I give the defense an A+. I don't know how you can get better than that. You allowed 119 yards for the entire game. They sacked the quarterback 7 times. It's an NFL game. And I'll tell you right now, the one thing I've seen with Vic Fangio is the utilization of Cooper DeJean. Coming out of the bye, they have not allowed a touchdown on defense, and Cooper DeJean has looked great. Actually, just giving you a grade, he was the number 1 graded defender that had more than 10 plays on the team. So Cooper DeJean was incredible. I really loved watching him. Nakobe Dean was ranked number 5 on the team. He's number 1 ranked in pass rush in the entire league this past week with a 90.3 rating. I got to give all the credit in the world to what the adjustments Vic Fangio has made. Granted, it is the Giants. Granted, they are missing players. However, to hold a team to 119 total yards after sacks and rushing, I can't ask for more. I'm very happy with the overall performance. The defense not allowing a touchdown for 2 straight weeks. Yeah, I give this team an A+. That's what you get.
Yeah, I'm there. I mean, I'm very happy with the performance they had. I mean, shoot, man, even Bryce Huff got in on it. He got a sack. I mean, I'm hoping that continues for my guy because they paid him some money. And you know, Jalix Hunt got a sack. Dean had 2. Nolan Smith got a sack. Jalen Carter had 2 sacks. You know, Josh Sweat had a sack. So they were all over the place. I love to see Nakobe Dean flying all over the place, making plays. That's very encouraging, very, very good. I felt really good about the D. Yeah, they were definitely missing some people. I agree 100%. But they made the plays, and to hold them to 3 yards was impressive. And getting after the quarterback was something I've been looking to see. And you were seeing, you know, Nakobe Dean was making plays all over the place. I was really happy to see, you know, number 17 doing his thing. And I was happy to see Bryce Huff participate. I'm happy about him. I'm going to keep on him until I see him like coming to his own.
The best 2 players on the Eagles defense this past week were Nakobe Dean and Cooper DeJean. And if they're going to be your best 2 players, and Quinyon Mitchell. And I'll tell you right now, Quinyon Mitchell has the ability to be not only the best cornerback on the Eagles, he's already that. That guy has the ability to be the best cornerback in football. Steph Joyner shared something from the All-22 that I've seen on tape, and it's really good. If you're on Twitter, follow Steph Joyner. Had the pleasure of having lunch with him and Mike Quick this week. Had conversations with him about a lot of stuff, Eagles-wise. But if you're on Twitter, go look at his page and watch Quinyon Mitchell pressing Malik Neighbors at the line and absolutely abusing him. He couldn't get off the line. He could not get off the line of scrimmage. This is a young phenom rookie wide receiver that could not get off the line versus our young cornerback. This was best on best. Rookie on rookie. It's exactly what I wanted to see. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Nakobe Dean, young stars in the making.
And shout out to Zach Bond, man. That guy's tackled, bro. He's just a beast.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
It's a hell of a find for the Eagles right there. I mean, then with Zach Bond. So that leads into a question I had. You know, and we kind of already touched on it. Defense, you know, they've obviously improved, right? Was it how much was it a product of a lesser opponent, right? Do you think 70-30, 50-50? I mean, obviously, I want to see them when they go up against a quarterback that has a higher pedigree, which we're going to see very soon.
We'll see that this week.
Yeah. Now, their O-line's got a lot of injuries on it and having trouble, but, you know, Burrow's going to process the pass faster and get rid of the ball faster than Daniel Jones. And, of course, you know, you have Higgins and all that. But and, you know, Chase, there's a lot more weapons on that side. So we'll get into that. But do you think the defense is definitely ascending, right? Or was part of it a product of who they played, or that just didn't matter? They smashed and they did what they were supposed to do.
Cool.
So let me ask you a question. Last year, we played the same team, right? At the end of the season, right? They sucked last year. Terrible. And what happened?
They kicked their ass.
Right. So, I mean, you got to give a little bit of it. I say maybe 15% or something to who it is. Mm-hmm. But defenses normally improve when you have a lot of new pieces, rookies, young pieces, a lot of free agents coming in, new coordinator. It takes you a few weeks because let's not forget, as I was saying, week 1, week 2, week 3, but you still have to remember that they don't have a preseason really anymore. So the first 4 games are literally their preseason. So the first 4 games was literally everyone's preseason. Some were better than others, but it just counts now. Then we get to bye. Then we come back. We started looking a little bit better week on top of week. Will it be 119 yards against a team like Cincinnati with a quarterback like Joe Burrow? No. But the main important thing is keeping guys out of the end zone and those things. Can they continue to do those things? They should be able to. If they can't, then there's major problems. If you can show it against lesser teams, then you should be able to show it to an extent against better teams. It may not be as impressive statistically, but you should be able to go out and get the stops and things when you need to when everything's starting to click. Everybody makes mistakes. You get burned on plays. You miss a tackle. Those things happen. But for the most part, they should be able to keep this going, I think.
Oh, so there's a noticeable change in their defense, and you can watch it, and it's very obvious when you watch it. Very obvious. It's versus Atlanta and Tampa Bay. They played soft shell coverage. They were worried that they were going to get beat. Versus New Orleans, versus New York, versus Cleveland. They've played aggressive style defense, press line, and they trusted their cornerbacks. In order for this defense to be successful, they have to continue to pressure the quarterback, play press, man coverage. You went out and got these corners for a reason. You need to allow them to play football.
Yep.
And it's a very obvious adjustment that Vic Fangio has made since the bye. Cooper DeJean has looked great in the slot, and Avonte Maddox, nothing against him. You know, he's seen better days. Cooper DeJean is the future. He's a young, athletic cornerback, and I love what they're bringing to the table. When you're rolling out, even Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo, when you're rolling out those 5 cornerbacks and allowing the Eagles to be able to play man coverage, allowing Gardner Johnson to roam as opposed to, you know, have to play man-to-man versus someone, I'm very happy with the way Vic has adjusted. You're going to see a lot more this next week versus Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. But let's not pretend that Malik Neighbors is a scrub. And he was not open. He was getting beat up every play. Loved what I've seen from the Eagles this week. Bryce Huff showing. Josh Sweat looked good. He was in the backfield all night. I'm loving what I'm watching with Vic Fangio's defense. We're obviously going to get in Jalen in a second, so that might not be the most positive.
Well, I'm glad that you bring that up because that was next. And since you kind of cracked the can open right there, I'm going to ask you to tee off on the Jalen grade.
All right, this might sound stupid. 10 for 14 is a decent stat line. It's very efficient. 114 yards, big touchdown pass. I'm giving Jalen a C, and I'm going to tell you why I'm giving Jalen a C. Guys, it's no secret how much film I've watched. We've talked multiple times about me watching this game, then watching the All-22 and breaking down the film and seeing what I'm seeing. They've turned a $50 million quarterback into a game manager, and that's scary to me. That's scary to me because beating the Giants and beating the Browns is one thing, but being able to beat teams that have high volume offense, do you think this team can go out there and beat Detroit? I don't. Do you think this team can go out there and beat Baltimore? I don't. Do you think this team can go out there and beat Kansas City? I don't. And the reason I don't think that is because Jalen Hurts has had an issue anticipating throws his entire career. His entire career. You can see it on tape. Everyone asks, what's wrong with Jahan Dotson? Nothing is wrong with Jahan Dotson. Jalen Hurts does not know where he's going to be on the football field. You look at that 4th and 3 play. That's not a good play. It's an incredible throw. That's not a good play. It worked out. He got hit and threw a perfect pass, which is incredible and speaks to his talent. It speaks to how good he is. That's not a good play. That's not where that play's designed to go. You throw a bomb on 4th and 3. That's not what they're trying to do there. Jalen Hurts has to be better at understanding the coverage. I'm hoping the more and more he sits in that Kellen Moore scheme, the motion is helping him immensely. The mesh concepts that Kellen Moore is running is helping him understand whether it's man or zone quicker, which is what led to no turnovers again. Now, why I give him a C when he has he's not making the right reads. You're turning in my opinion, an all-world receiver in Devontae Smith into a meaningless wide receiver. One catch for negative yards. I just can't. I can't give my quarterback credit for that. A lot of times that they were off the field, and the reason they didn't score more points is because Jalen did not understand where to go with the football, used his legs and ran. I feel like a C is being a little bit too harsh, but in turn, I have to tell you what I see. And what I see is a game manager. What I see is an Alex Smith when we're paying for a Patrick Mahomes.
Woo. Cool. What say you?
Jalen Hurts to be. He wasn't asked to do a lot in this game. Yeah, he missed some throws. He made some reads. He made some decisions. But you brought up Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of times, just does what he wants to on the field. They call a play. You see him. He does what he wants to. Yeah. That's what makes him great. It's because he does what he wants to. Does Patrick Mahomes read coverage as well? No. Not to, in my opinion, no. Because I've watched film on him. I've watched film on Jalen. I've watched film on Lamar. Because I hear all these people all the time that say, oh, Jalen can't do this. Jalen can't do that. And no, he doesn't do everything great all the time. I'm not going to sit here and try to say, oh, Jalen Hurts is the perfect quarterback. This man has not had an opportunity to be in the same system. So he's always learning something new. So when you're learning something new a lot of times, and I mean, for me, I won't speak for anybody else, but for me, when I'm learning new things, sometimes I'm hesitant. I see it. I know I should do it, but I'm hesitant because it's new to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make the mistake. So managing the game sometimes, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm gonna give him a grade now based on what I'm scared he may do in the future, what he has in the past. I'm gonna grade him on this game. This game, I give him a B. I have some concerns with him making all the throws and using the middle of the field. Yes, I do. But for this game, he wasn't asked to do a lot. He didn't miss a throw in the middle. He missed 2 or 3. But you know what? We won the game. We used the running game for the most part, and the defense is clicking. So for me, I'm fine with what he's done. I'm not going to give him an A because there are some things he definitely needs to work on cleaning up. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't have a lot of opportunities. It's true. He had some running. But here's the thing. So for me, if he runs, there's a problem. If he doesn't run, there's a problem, right? So if he's looking and he's not seeing or confident in what he's seeing, yeah, you got a whole run. You have the ability to. You are a dual threat quarterback. At some point, I'm hoping we get to the Lamar click. Because there were years where we said, oh, Lamar's a running back, really. A lot of people say, oh, Lamar's a running back, really. He can't read offense. He can't make throws except for on the outside. We're not seeing that Lamar Jackson this year. We started to see that change a little bit, like about halfway through the season last year. So I'm hoping at some point our quarterback has that same comfort maturation happening. But for this game, I'm going to give him a B based off what he did, based off the things he may have looked off and said, yeah, I see that play, but I also feel like it may not work, so I'm not going to go to it. And to have the kahunas to throw a deep ball to me, the best deep ball just guy to go up and get the ball in the league, and Jalen and AJ Brown, I love it. I love the kahunas that the plays like that takes. So we can say all the things that he doesn't do, but in this game, he didn't turn the ball over. He managed. He did the role he was asked to do. We all knew going into this game this was going to be the Saquon Barkley show, and it was, and that was awesome to see. So he wasn't worried about, oh, I got to try to get mine. I got to try to do this. I try to do that. There are going to be games, and we know where Devontae Smith is going to have this type of game. There are going to be games where A.J. Brown may not have this type of game because he's a big physical receiver, and he's going to find a way to get a couple of catches in most games. But sometimes the game plan, some of that 270 yards that we got on the ground, a lot of that probably came on what would be plays for Devontae Smith. So we want to run. We also want Devontae Smith to have 100 yards. We want A.J. Brown to have 100 yards. We want Grant Calcaterra to have 50 yards. We want Jahan Dotson to have 55, 60 yards. And that just doesn't work every game. So for me, I'm giving him a B.
This was a tough grade for me this week because I kind of hear both what you're saying. But, you know, I'll give you a couple. You bring up Patrick Mahomes. There's games where he spreads it to like 7 receivers, even though, you know, there are games where he goes off script a lot. Lamar, a lot of people said he couldn't pass. I do believe he has become a better passer. But, you know, I got to look at the current pass chart. But a lot of times he would live in the middle of the field and not go to the outside, right?
So he used to say Lamar lives on the outside, doesn't go in the middle.
Oh, well, for me, it was always he lived on the inside.
He
Part
always
of the
lived on
reason.
the outside because he used to throw those fly routes to whoever was on the wide receiver on one side of Andrews, the tight end. They used to be
Yeah,
his
but
favorite play.
he wasn't throwing.
His entire career, he's had issues outside the seams. That's known.
Yeah.
He's
The
definitely
out routes.
yeah, he's definitely had issues outside the seams.
But they're
So,
cooking right now.
getting better.
Yeah, he's gotten better. But and I do agree that Jalen, can he be in the same offense for 2 years in a row? It's remarkable where he has been in that situation. But there are times like, Gene, correct me if I'm wrong here. The play that set up the deep ball in 4th and 3, that was a missed opportunity, was it not?
Bro, he missed Saquon Barkley. Yes, but that was a missed opportunity. He missed Saquon Barkley so wide open on a swing pass, like to not know where he was at. Like you could literally see it on. Even the announcer was just like, "Whoa!" Even Mike Quick, if you listen to the 94 WIP, Mike Quick was like, "Oh, he's wide open." Like to not understand the coverage that they're in and where your receivers will be it's alarming.
See, I think
The
part of the
Eagles are
reason,
a better football team than the New York Giants.
yeah, I think part of the reason they ran the ball a lot was Saquon going home, but I think they were dialing it back a little bit for him, to be honest. I mean, and that's okay because
thought, but you don't have anything to back that up. That's just you making your own grab in the dark.
I mean, when you run the ball that much, they Gainwell got carries. I mean, they got him in there too. He wasn't all Saquon. It was mostly Saquon.
But that's what should be happening. Like as a football team, you have multiple running backs. We've always said what's been said over the years. We're a running team. The fact that Jalen Hurts was throwing the ball 35, 40 times at the beginning of the season was asinine.
Yeah, and I agree with that too.
They finally are doing what they should do and allow him to have a reasonable amount of throws. Yes, he should get a couple of big plays. But again, I mean, you can't feed everybody, right? You can't feed everybody.
Yeah, my thing isn't more about everybody having
anybody but AJ Brown. Nobody on the team had more than one catch other than AJ Brown. He had 5 receptions. Kenneth Gainwell had 1. Saquon had 2. Calcaterra had 1. Devontae Smith had 1. John Dotson, none. Paris Campbell, none. He threw the ball 14 times. Everything was to AJ Brown.
Paris Campbell's on the bus now. He's gone.
I mean, my thing is, I hear what you're saying, but let's be honest. If you're an NFL quarterback and you've got AJ Brown on your team and Devontae Smith, who are you throwing the ball to more?
I mean, AJ more than Devontae. That doesn't mean you got a guy who's an absolute tactician of a route runner that's not touching the ball. Devontae Smith could be number 1 on 17 out of 31 teams in the league.
Yeah, I'm giving him a B plus. And the thing is, people talk about him missing open receivers. Any quarterback, there's going to be a ton of receivers that you can find in a game where they miss open receivers. But the difference, I think, where I'm hoping that he ascends more, maybe it's the offense or not, we're going to find out because that's going to be adjudicated, is, his field vision, seeing more of the field, right? And I just feel like sometimes there's times where he doesn't, and there's no way that any quarterback in the NFL is not going to miss open receivers. It's going to happen. However, that's why he didn't get an A from me, because I wanted to see a little bit there, and I do realize, hey, Saquon, it was his homecoming, but I think that he's grasping the offense slowly but surely, in my opinion. Hurts is over and cannot read a defense. Yep, I kind of disagree there.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with that.
And I'm going to tell you why I disagree.
People can have their own opinion. I don't care.
I mean, there are times when you could probably say he didn't make that read, and I agree. But he's not null and void of, and he's not incapable of reading a defense in its entirety. I don't
think any quarterback in the NFL is completely incapable of reading a defense. I think out of 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, Hurts is in the bottom third of being able to read a defense. Is that not fair to say?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair to say. I would put him more around.
You think he's not bottom third of reading a defense?
I don't think he's bottom third of reading a defense. Oh, I think he's bottom third of execution at times. But I think what a lot of people do is they look at the execution piece and say, oh, the reason he's not executed is because he can't read. Me personally, watching and going back and watching things, I think some of his hesitation because he's not sure if that's the play he should make. He sees the play. What you're saying when you're saying he can't read a defense is you're saying he doesn't see the play. I don't think it's that he doesn't see the play. I think it's that he's not trusting everything as he's hesitating. That's different from not being able to read. He's not making the correct plays a lot, and I agree with that, but I don't agree with your assessment of why he's not doing it.
They got to iron that out either way. Either way, that's got to be fixed.
But that's fair, cool. And I don't just to be clear, I don't, whether it's one or the other is irrelevant to me. When I watch Jalen Hurts, I watch a guy that has to see the play in front of him before he throws it. He doesn't anticipate the throw. I went to training camp. Godfrey sat right next to me. I showed him. I said, look at this play right here. Like, this is a hook route. This is a hook route, or this is a comeback route, or this is an out. He should be throwing it before the receiver turns his head. I think he's incredibly talented. And when I say he can't read defenses, I don't know if he understands whether they're in a cover 3, whether in man or zone until later than he should. And that's alarming to me. Now, the trust factor that hurts more than anything, and cool, here's the thing I feel like you'd agree on. I think the longer you play with Jalen Hurts, the more he'll know exactly where you'll be and you'll get the ball. And whether that's the trust factor or him understanding how to read defenses properly, it could be one or the other, but it's poor decision-making one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we're going to say these things, I feel like for me, I want to make sure people understand what I'm seeing, right? And what other people are seeing. And I'm not saying you're wrong for seeing what you're seeing. I'm not seeing it that way. To me, you're looking at a guy that's being asked to come in, again, a new defense, a new offense. And not only is it a new offense, you got two people in you. You got Nick right here. You got Kellen right here, right? So you're trying to, Nick wants you to do this. Kellen wants you to do this. It's clearly different because you can look at this game and you can see some of the silly decisions that we made in certain plays and be like, that doesn't look like something Kellen Moore would do. And we can see some plays where we look at it and say, that's a really good play. Even a couple of like tries where they were wanting to go deep. Some of those feel like Sirianni plays because he loves the deep ball, right? He's the wide receiver in college, loves the deep ball. But I think when you look at the totality of the plan, the biggest thing your quarterback needs is to hear one voice. And I don't think he has that. Okay. Hopefully, as the weeks go on, you start to hear one voice say, do this. And hopefully that voice is Kellen Moore. That's why he's there. And you hear less of Nick over here doing this, right? And hopefully he's pulling back from that because I think once he pulls back from that, then you don't have as much hesitation. Then you don't have the, should I wait for him to go deep? Should I do this? Or let's just hit him when he's open. And I think that's what's missing. I don't think this is a guy that can't read defenses, right? This guy's dad is a high school coach. He's been learning football and understanding football in different defensive schemes since he was a child. So I don't think it's that he can't read them. I don't think his reaction, for whatever reason, I believe that's hesitation because of what he's hearing from two different voices that are telling him to do two different things. And he's trying to find a way to please both. And then it ends up extra 2 seconds. That makes the play look bad. That's still something he has to work on. So I'm not saying, he's not to blame for it. Because you need to look at the field and say, hey, what one guy's telling me makes sense. What one guy's telling me doesn't. And whoever you want that guy to be for that play, that's who it is. But you have to start to be decisive. I also look at like the way that he does press conferences, the way that he talks, and he reminds me of a couple of people that I know that play sports. And just like him, they're always rule followers. If I see that I should do this, but coach is telling me to do this, let me do what coach said, even though I know it's not going to work because I'm a rule follower. I want to get praise for doing what I was told to do.
But they've been very.
And he seems to have that personality.
Cool. They've been very open about Jalen changing a lot of the plays. He's even said that in press conferences. Right, he's changing. That's
you
not
have the ability to. You have the ability to audible, but what I'm saying is, even when you're audibling, listen to what I'm saying. When you have a personality, and I believe he has this based on what I see, that you want to follow the rules, you're given audibles to call. You're not just calling an audible out of the blue. You have a card with audibles that you've been giving by these same two people that are telling you different things in your ears. So when you're calling the plays, you're still calling something off of that sheet. You're not calling red, white, banana 54 that you worked with A.J. Brown on in the practice field after everybody left and nobody else knows about it. You're still calling plays from a card. You're still calling based on what they would want you to do if you're changing the play. What I'm saying is he doesn't go off script and just say, F it, I don't think this is going to work. I know this is what they want me to call, but I don't care. This is what I'm calling because I see this.
That's fair.
And that's where I think.
Just agree to disagree there. I disagree
That's
with
why
you,
I think
but
the problem
I
is.
respect your opinion.
I
So-
respect yours. I
Yeah.
want people to see there's more than one way to look at this. And if you look at his background, it doesn't make sense to me that he can't read defenses. If his process is slow, that's one thing. But I don't see him not being able to read defenses.
So there's
And
a
just to
stat
get it real quick, just to get it out there, I'm not saying he cannot read defenses. I am saying that he's not doing as good of a job at reading defenses as some
Well,
of the
I'm
most elite players in the game.
Well, what I'm saying is we also had a comment that said the man can't read defenses, and we also have a lot of other fans. We're all in the Eagles group
That's
that
fair.
say that.
That's fair.
So it's just putting it out for everyone. I wasn't necessarily saying you're saying that, but putting it out there for people to understand.
I think where people get it mixed up though is they say that, but what they mean is so a good stat, and it's a noisy stat. Gene, are you guys familiar with the time to throw stat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. That's how quickly you get rid of the ball, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
So who do you think the
2.3,
leader? Who do you
3.2?
think the leader is in that stat this season? And they don't have to be someone that's currently playing. Just pick any quarterback, injured or not.
I mean, Joe Burrow.
Tua.
That's
makes
fair.
sense.
That makes
Which
sense.
makes
I was
sense when
gonna
you
say
think
Baker.
about it. Well, which makes sense when you think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what people get mixed up with reading a defense and is processing a defense are two different things.
Mhm.
And when I look at the time to throw stat, I will tell you that Jalen is near the bottom. He's out of 32 quarterbacks. It's Sam Darnold last, Brock Purdy, and Jalen Hurts right after that. He's
holds the ball.
3.08.
He holds the ball.
Yeah. Justin Fields is 3.04.
And to be clear, out of all those quarterbacks that you have that you're talking about right there,
Mhm.
Jalen has the most probably one-step drop throws out of those quarterbacks. So his number is actually a lot worse than you think it is because they throw the ball so quick on some plays, like quick outs. Like think about the first play of the game. You get a one-step route. It was literally drop, throw, 1 second. So for him to have so many routes like that and still be near the bottom, that means on the plays in which are longer developing plays, he's really holding the ball.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a noise stat. 2 is number 1 because that offense is designed. Dude, they know exactly where they're going right away. Fast guys, boom, it's out. And that's why you see like they completely collapse now without him not in there. But it's number 2 is Aaron Rodgers, which makes sense if you watch football. Aaron Rodgers gets rid of the ball, processes it quick. Whatever he's doing this year, he still processes it quick, getting it out of his hands. And like I said, it's a noisy stat. You know, Andy Dalton shows up number 3 on the list. Very surprising to me. Maybe he's throwing it away quick because he didn't want to get killed. Jaden Daniels is up there at number 5. You know, Baker Mayfield.
That's surprising that Jaden Daniels is 5.
Yeah. Now,
I've watched Jaden a lot. I guessed that on the plays in which, see, you know where that stat could
high
be
percentage throws that were easy throws they were giving him too.
You know where that stat could be tricky? I
Yep.
bet you it doesn't take an account on passing plays in which he doesn't pass the ball. So what I mean by that is he drops back, scrambles for 4 or 5 seconds, and runs. That stat would not record a stat because he didn't throw the football.
Cool, you were right though. Baker is up there. He's number 5.
Yeah, I figured he's up there because I watched a couple of his games and he gets rid of it pretty quick.
And I can tell you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that just comes with comfortability in a consistent voice. When you're dropping back and you hear one voice and you practice things one way and everything's consistent, you hit that. You start jumping, you start making those things. Now, again, I'm not trying to say, hey, he doesn't deserve any fault in this. I'm just saying it's hard for certain people to reconcile it because certain people, personalities like mine.
I know you agree with me what I'm about to say. I know you agree with me what I'm about to say. What are they gonna do if they finish 12-5 and they make a playoff run and someone hires Kellen Moore? Guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna
I don't think anybody wants him as a head coach.
Hold on. Can we play the what if game for 1 second?
Sure.
What are they gonna do as soon as Kellen Moore gets a head coaching job? Because he revitalized and fixed Jalen Hurts. They're gonna hire another offensive coordinator, another offensive scheme. And this is why you cannot have an offensive-minded coach that has no real hand in the offense.
Well, it's not about having a hand in offense, Gene. I agree with you, but it's about understanding that we So the problem that a lot of people have with Nick Sirianni, including myself, I won't say everybody because other people have other problems, is that you were there with Shane Steichen. You had a hand in those plays that were very successful for Jalen Hurts, routes, concepts, all those things that worked very well for him. You walked away from all that, threw it away, and said, we're going to do things the way Nick Sirianni wants to do it, right? So obviously, if this happens again, understanding that this just happened with Shane Steichen, wouldn't it make sense to be looking at your staff and saying, we've got a guy on the staff that we feel like when we lose Kellen this year, next year, whenever, because obviously you're going to lose him in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
That should be able to step in and continue, not the same, but a similar system. That's all I'm saying. You shouldn't be playing in a completely different system for year to year when you got the same head coach. One of the jobs to me of a head coach, if you're offensive minded, is to say, this is the things that works for my quarterback, man. Put these things in the playbook, but put your own spin on it. But when you want to be, Jalen, you need to do this, Jalen, you need to do that, and you got a coordinator that's telling them, Jalen, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to shut up and let the coordinator do that. Support the coordinator. Let him help the quarterback. You listen, you be there, you be absorbing the knowledge too, so that if that guy leaves, you can still do the things that he's being effective doing with Jalen Hurts, and that hasn't happened with him. That bag has been fumbled by Nicky Tight Pants Sirianni. That's my problem with him.
So here's the thing about that, though. I don't disagree. That could happen. I don't think the league is really hot on Kellen Moore as a head coach. Maybe after a good season, they make it hot.
Jalen Hurts to 12-5. There's going to be people come a calling. Now, if he don't like those opportunities, and he like, all right, I just stay here rather than go, that's him. But they're going to come calling. Gene, I completely agree with Gene. If we get to 12-5, we make a deep run, we get to the Super Bowl, we win the Super Bowl or not, but we get close, like NFC Championship game or above, he's probably going to be gone.
How come he didn't get hired coming out of Dallas after having that number one offense?
Dak Prescott was still known as the guy that throws all those interceptions. He didn't fix him. That's why.
5,000 yards. It was one of his best seasons ever.
And turnovers abounding.
So we'll move on with that stat that I showed. Just to give you an example as we move on to how noisy it is. Number 7 on the list is Will Levis. Now, we know that just means he gets rid of it quick and makes the wrong decision. Right? so Mayo boy, yeah, he's processing the wrong decision quickly. So it is a noisy stat, but it is a very interesting stat because, I'll give you a comp real quick when we move on. And it's not the same, but a lot of people were upset, and this will be a topic for the next show, that they said, why sit Justin Fields? And I'm a Justin Fields fan, as you know, Gene. But he throws line drives, and he wasn't throwing anticipatory throws. Say what you want about Russell Wilson. I saw anticipatory throws, and I'm not talking about the Pickens bobble catch and all that. And listen, the players had a chance to make plays. Now, I don't think that's where Jalen Hurts is in. I don't think he's there, but I'm just saying that's, Fields was making line drive throws, and he held onto the ball a long time.
I can't believe I can't believe so many people watched that game and came away with it that Russell Wilson was making so many. Russell Wilson was like a play or two away from getting benched in that game. And we all come away from
the beginning. In the beginning of the
game.
You
see how bad he looked in the first 2 quarters?
Yeah.
Quarter and a half.
Uh-huh. And man also hadn't played football for a year.
We're talking about George Pickens, right? George Pickens had 111 yards. 44 were on a play that was terribly thrown. Mm-hmm. I mean, awful throw. Awful.
I don't disagree, but they have him in there because I think they have more faith in him running the offense and the other things that were happening, holding the ball too long. That's what I saw. I'm a Fields fan.
He had 264 yards. 44 was on a terrible play. 36 was on a screen play to Calvin Austin. 30 was on an absolute 7-yard pass to Fryer, moved over the middle of the field. It's 120 yards. Like, he did not look good. How did people watch that game and go and get away from him and be like, yeah, Russell Wilson looked great? No, he didn't.
He looked like crap the first quarter and a half, but he started playing better as the game went on. Absolutely.
I almost question people's football acumen that watched that football game and like, Russ looked great.
I wouldn't say he looked great. I wouldn't say he looked great, but I think he started to play better.
I'll sit down with any single person that wants to watch that game on all 22, play for play. We'll do it on a live stream. We'll watch it play for play, and you grade his throws.
The man damn near hadn't played in a year.
But that's not I get it.
You got to let him. You got to let him get a few plays under his belt.
That Steelers team was going to win that game versus the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, with Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. You don't know. You don't know what you're watching.
Well, the defense had something to do with that too, with getting those picks and the ball bouncing off his chest. But
correct.
But I'm telling you, you don't tell me that the offense looked like it ran a little bit smoother in the second half.
Najee Harris ran 21 times for 102 yards. They ran the ball 36 times for 150. They got a couple of lucky breaks in the game where Garrett Wilson dropped the ball off his friggin' shoulder pad that got picked. George Pickens caught a ball that was underthrown by 5-10 yards for 44 yards. And then they hit a screen pass to Calvin Austin for 36 yards. Like I can't watch that game and be like, bro, I get it, man. We're not talking about that. We're well,
we'll bring that to the next show.
It's what the funny thing is, Godfrey? It's the same conversations I have with people about Trevor Lawrence. It's the same conversations. Like I watched that Bears game in London. He threw 4 touchdown passes that got dropped. I shared the clip in the Wire to Wire page. 4 touchdown passes that got dropped. Just bang, drop.
They're not helping him out.
Guy sucks. What are you watching?
Yeah, they're not helping him out. Yeah, I would say, listen, we're gonna get the next week's game, but I do think that there's some fair questions going on there. I think he can read a defense. He's just got to process it quicker.
Everyone in the NFL can read a defense. Everyone in the NFL. If you say you can't read a defense, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Gene wasn't saying.
I don't mean to say that rude.
He was saying he doesn't read it fast enough. I get what you're saying, Gene. Yeah, I'm saying there's a lot of people saying he can't read. So I was more talking to them than you directly.
I know. I'm just giving the response to anyone else that's watching.
Speaking of people that can read a defense and process quickly, Joe Burrow.
The good thing about playing Joe Burrow is this week? You know what the good thing about having Vic Fangio playing against Joe Burrow this week? Vic Fangio doesn't disguise shit.
Nah, he's going to bring
my guys are better than your guys. This is what we're going to do. And when he fears, this is Vic's biggest problem. It's always been Vic's biggest problem. When he feels like his guys aren't better than your guys, he plays soft. And I don't look at the game versus Tampa Bay. Look at the way that defense played versus Tampa Bay. They played soft. He felt like his guys were better than the guys in New Orleans. They played at the line of scrimmage. They shoved them around. When they played against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're like, don't want to let this guy get loose. Just play a little off here. No, you can't do that for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Sorry.
No, it's all right. So that brings us to the Bengals game, right? You can't do that for it. I'm a little scared of this game. I'm not going to lie, but we're going to break it down real quick. Listen, this is take your blinders off with the Bengals record. Okay. They always start slow. There's talent on that side of the ball. This is going to be a real test for the defense, I think, because would it be fair to say this would be the best quarterback they've faced so far this year? Do you think?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Jordan Love and then him, or him and Jordan Love.
Yeah. So
not Baker.
Yeah, not Baker. Even though it looked like that, didn't
it? He's had good and bad games.
Yeah, but I will say, their offensive line can be had, and that's how you got to get to Joe. You can't let him have the time. He gets rid of the ball pretty quick, but you can get to him. The Giants were getting to him with their pass rush. That was a closer game than it really should have been. They did miss some field goals there and all that. I'm talking about the Monday night game. That was Monday night, I believe, right? And prime time either way. And, we're going to talk about the keys to the game. So, I'll start with Eugene. What do you think the keys to the game of the Eagles beating the Bengals here? Are they going to beat the Bengals?
They should. But they've never won a game at Paul Brown Stadium, which is now Paymore Stadium. They've never won a game there, ever. They had one game in which was a tie. In which Donovan McNabb was ready to play OT2.
He thought he was at Syracuse.
But the Bengals as a whole are going to be able – this is the one thing you have to – the only thing I worry about in this game, if Vic Fangio does not press and allows Joe Burrow to just take the 3-second reads and slows down our defensive line, we're going to be in a lot of trouble in this game. I don't care if Jamar Chase catches 65-yard touchdown against us. If it's the only touchdown he catches against us, that's fine. But you cannot allow him to have 8 receptions for 155 yards. You can't allow that. You got to play press coverage. You got to make Joe hold the ball, and you got to allow that makeshift offensive line to fall apart. You know what worries me about this Bengals team defensively? One thing. And if you're Kellen Moore, and if you're Nick Sirianni, and if you're Jalen Hurts, you need to understand that Trey Hendrickson is going to line up against Checker Fred every play. And if you do not have a second guy blocking Trey Hendrickson, you are going to get beat on the blind side daily. You have to cover the blind side, help Fred Johnson out, and you have to play aggressive style defense and make Joe hold the ball. That offensive line for the Bengals will not hold up. You come off a game where you have 7 sacks. Their defense is at an all-time high as far as their confidence in their pass rush. You have to make Joe hold the football. Have to. And then defensively or offensively, you have to just make sure Trey Hendrickson does not ruin the game. There's no one on that Bengals defense not named Trey Hendrickson that worries me. You can run against them. You can pass against them. You know what one of their cornerbacks is? Old Cam Taylor-Britt. Are you out of your mind? This guy's, there's no way that you can't throw against this team. None. Cam Taylor-Britt is one of their starting corners. DJ Turner, DJ Turner from Michigan, that got beat like he stole something, is one of their starting corners. Trust me, they should be able to move the ball offensively without a problem.
Yeah. They should. I'm surprised they've never won a game there. I mean, that's impressive in a bad way, but that's crazy.
I'm prepared, sir.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know how many games have we had at Paul Brown Stadium. Not many, I think, but the last one I remember is when they won. Yeah. The last one I remember is the game where Dougie P called out everybody for not giving effort. The Zach Ertz game. You guys remember that? That was so I don't have good memories of them playing there. That's for sure. Cool. What do you think? What are the keys to win the game here?
Well, it starts at one place with the offense. Run the freaking ball. And it doesn't have to be for, as many yards as we got last week, anything like that, but you have to run the ball. You have to make people have to dedicate to stopping the run. You have to get people, anybody, I don't care who you play, I don't care if it's the best defense in the league, the worst defense in the league, or anywhere in between. You want to run the ball. You want to do something that I don't recall us doing much. It's called play action. I don't know if we don't have that in the playbook yet, but play action. Play action should work well with a running back like Saquon Barkley. I've seen Saquon go out on some really nice routes, have some opportunities, and maybe the ball doesn't get to him where it's delivered where he can make a play. But, throwing the ball to him, spreading the ball around. Like, I love to actually see a game, and I don't care about like shutting up people who don't believe in Hurts and all that, because it doesn't matter what happens. They're going to still believe what they want to believe. But I love to see him spread the ball around and just hit who's open. We know AJ's going to get his catches because that's his guy. That's his number one in his mind. And that's the guy he feels the most comfortable throwing the ball to. I'd like to see Devontae, get a little bit more involved. Some Jahan Dotson opportunities, either running or passing or both. Right, Calcaterra has been playing well for us in the role that he has. So just spreading the ball around, mixing the run and the pass. If the run is really getting off, then maybe you plan to go in and throw more, but the run's getting off. So why would you stop doing it? Don't have something that's working well and then say we're going to stop doing it. Whether it's the run, whether it's the play action, whether that's running the ball with Hurts, whether it's throwing the ball, whatever's working. As long as it's working, continue to do it and mix some other things in to switch it up. But do your bread and butter. And it's not the same every week, right? Maybe you get in this game and Gainwell's the guy that really can get off and they're not letting Saquon get off. Then run with Gainwell more, right? Maybe they're saying, hey, A.J. Brown just had that big play last game. Let's shade the defense over to him a little bit. So Smitty's getting more one-on-one. Smitty's not getting as much attention. He's got plays to make. Let him make plays. A need for Jalen Hurts, and this is for every quarterback, to get to the point where you're not worried about who it is. You're just seeing a guy open and you're giving him the ball. That's what I need from QB1. That's what needs to happen on offense. And Gene made a very great point. The one place where they can hurt us, Johnson has not been looking good. I wouldn't say he looks terrible, but he's not looking good. He's not a guy that I would feel comfortable going forward with at that position, right?
He allowed,
Like
we allowed 4 sacks last week. He allowed 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying
2 of them were probably because Jalen held the ball, but it's fair. But
he's the worst lineman by far. I mean, we can agree on that without a problem. He's the worst lineman by far that we have, right?
Checkered Fred. I like that nickname.
But for me, man, now defensively, I have to go over to the defense because we just take what we're given, make them dictate to their defense how we want them to play, and then use it to our advantage. That's all we really need to do on the offense. And score in the first freaking quarter, at least 3 points, please.
So I think the key.
Hold on,
I'm sorry. Finish.
You good? Defensively, like Gene said, press. I don't mind you missing a little bit of zone just to throw people off, but mostly press and those things, man, because those are the things that we've seen have worked well. Be aggressive, attack that line, make Joe Burrow feel like heat's coming all the time, even when it's not. And you don't have to do that by, pretending to do anything or faking or all that. Just go at him, right? Go at him at times, make him always feel like I got to be ready in case they're coming, and cover the receivers. And the problem that we've had like last year, and I know we talk about, we'll go back to last year and the year before that, was we had guys in the secondary that were getting a little long in the tooth, and they were not able to play as good as they could. They're not able to cover top guys anymore. I think we're starting to understand that. I'm not going to call anybody out here, but we're starting to understand some of the longer in the tooth people in the secondary need to maybe play less, be in a rotation so that when they are on the field, they're effective, and let some of these younger guys that have fresh legs that can go longer, get them out there. On the line, attack. Whenever your number's called, attack. If you see a weakness, attack, right? If you see something, you start noticing things. I say this every week too. You see something like a guy flinches his fingers right before the run. He cocks his leg to the side right before the pass, bends his knee differently, whatever. Any little thing that you can see and take notice of, use that to your advantage. Let your teammates know. Take these guys out. You're going to give up some plays because they're too explosive of an offense. Forget those plays that you give up. Don't let it happen again. Learn a lesson and keep playing. And we should win this game.
Yeah. I don't disagree on a lot of that. I will say, watching the Browns and Bengals game, and I did watch a lot of that, Deshaun Watson, before he got hurt, was 15 of 17 against the secondary. Cedric Tillman had himself a nice day.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, I think the only reason the Bengals got back in that game is because they put Dorian Thompson in Robinson. He threw 2 picks, and they said, F Jameis Winston. But anyway, that's another story. Heath comes and throws a touchdown, but it was way closer than it should have been. And you can pass on that. You can pass on them easily. And I think the Eagles are going to pass on them this week. Run the ball, have a balanced offense. But I think where I'd like to see some more play action, things of that nature, they could be taken advantage of. Britt is awful. And, on the defensive side, press, I agree with you guys that, you got to get a pass rush on him, disrupt his timing. And I totally think that they're going to be able to do that because that is a patchwork offensive line. I mean, it is definitely they lost some people a couple weeks ago in the Redskins game and the Commanders game, and I will tell you that they can win this game. Absolutely. But what scares me about it, it just feels like one of those games where it could be like, we should win this, but we're on the road. And Joe Burrow does kind of scare me because, I think he has the ability to beat the Eagles through the air, even though we're playing better. So you can't allow him to pass. They're not going to beat you with the run. Obviously, they have a timeshare there with Brown and Zach Moss. Their talent, their tight ends are average. Yeah, all world wide receivers, but they got to get home with the pass rush, man. And if they can keep going what they had going last week, it's going to be a tough day for Joe Burrow and my fantasy team because he's my starting quarterback. But that's with the defense. I want to see the same thing I saw last week. We'll see. I'm holding my breath here. Fangio has a system in there, and I'm a big believer in Vic Fangio's system. But I see what you're talking about too, Gene. It's like, what's going on here? You know, it's almost like they just want to kind of. I don't want to say they're giving up, but like when that Tampa Bay game, I felt the same thing you were saying. You know, and I just hope that is happier. I don't think that will happen here. I think they're on a roll, but you know, Paul Brown apparently haunts the Eagles for all I know. Maybe it's because they beat. You know, they said
have 2 ties there. Actually, I forgot about the other one. The one versus Joe Burrow, 2020.
Yeah. So, listen. With that being said, you know, we're going to wrap things up. Let's give our final score predictions. And then a quick counterfeit green if we have anything. But Gene, what do you think the score bores out on Sunday afternoon?
27-17, Philadelphia.
Okay. Cool.
I'm going high. I'm going 31-20.
Woo. 50-point game. 31. I like it. I'm going to say it's going to be a squeaker and our butt cheeks are going to be tight and it's going to be 28-24. So I think it's just going to be close and I just see it being that way. 28-24 Eagles win. Any quick counterfeit greens, gentlemen? I have one. It's quick. Anybody? No?
You go ahead.
You know, just a mini one to carry over from weeks ago. Giants fans thought Saquon was washed. Guess not. You know, kind of counterfeit that you just abandoned the dude because he wanted to. Your team didn't want to pay him, and you're like, he's washed. He's not tough. He won't play. He won't give you the tough yards. He walked right in that stadium and trucked that dude. That was a statement. That was a statement. That was all he really needed to do. Say like, yeah, you guys messed up. So that's my counterfeit green.
So mine is real simple. My counterfeit green is to all of our own lovely fan base that gave up on the defense and said it was going to suck. It was going to be terrible all season after a couple of weeks. And now you're jumping back on the bandwagon with the defense. You're counterfeit green for that.
Gene?
I don't have one.
Okay. So that's counterfeit. No, I'm just joking. So we're going to wrap it up. We got another show to do. Thank you for listening in. You know, we appreciate everybody that does that every week, same time. We take it birds deep. This is a cool McCain. I want to call you the NFL genius, but you said you took that away. So, you know, Gene from Wire to Wire and the Godfrey not saying goodbye, just saying take it birds deep.
Take it.